What's going on, guys? Quick video tonight. We've got a webinar tomorrow night for members, 8 p.m. Eastern. But I had to leave a little bit early this afternoon, and when I was driving back, I was thinking about a couple trades that I made and a couple private messages that I had received about a couple members kind of trading it and what I was thinking, what different levels, and all that good stuff. So I thought that this could be a good way to give you a simple tool that you guys all probably have heard of before, but something that I use that helps me kind of identify whether or not I should be being patient, whether or not I'm likely to pre-exhaust myself, and that tool's VWAP. It's nothing that you've never heard of before. You guys should be very, very familiar with it. But it's basically the average price that everything's traded at. The basic price that buyers and sellers have bought and sold on any given day. And in a situation like ZM or any stock that's over VWAP, the only time I want to trade it, if I am trading it on the short side, is into a parabolic move or some type of stuff move. And so we've talked about stuff moves all the time before. Basically, it comes into a particular level, a prior area of resistance, a prior high a day, a prior kind of sticking point, resistance point, and it literally does not budge. A whole bunch of volume comes in. The offer is potentially hidden at times. They're not really showing their hand. All this volume comes in, nothing happens, nothing budges. And so then you had this whole cover come into the offer. You had all these breakout buyers come into the offer. And then what? Those bidders that were, potential shorts, all just covered. And all these people just bought for the breakout, and it didn't budge. So where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go to the bid side. So that's why I feel that there's an edge on the front side of the move in situations like that. Either a stuff move or some type of parabolic move relative to prior price action. So with that said, when it pulls back, you have to look left, think about where the prior support was, and take note of where VWAP is. And you want to make sure that you're locking in, trading at least around the core, locking in, paying yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to be one of the many that are, have been trying to find the top for quite some time and are getting squeezed out. Lately, these moves can last a lot longer than you think, both ways. Just like you saw unwinding, ZM has been squeezing probably a lot longer than you anticipated. And so you don't want to step in front of that. And so when I was driving back today, I was thinking about it. I not necessarily that I felt exhausted on the trade. I had a lot of great entries. I traded it three times today. One off the open, one into the 1030 area, 1030 mark, and then again into the 165 level. It stuffed, and I got involved after that around like 162.50, 163. But I reminded the guys in the room, be aware we're still over VWAP. You might want to kiss it and then bounce back off of it. And so that's something that you need to assume. So every single time you're trading something above VWAP, assume it's going to pull back down and base there. Base there. And if it bases there, you can always, you've covered some. But if it doesn't, you can always re-add. You can always rescale into that trade. You're going to be happy, though, if you lock in. And same thing with TDOC. You can see here, ramps up, pulls back, slams, comes right into the VWAP level, and then guess what? Right back up. And it's still on the front side. And, not that there can't be money made here, but think about all the trades that you could have made while you're just sitting in this channel kind of anticipating which way it could go, right? So that's what I'm trying to get you guys away from doing, sitting there. I've done this for hours and hours and hours, and I sit there to the bell, many days. And, when I notice myself doing this, I try to just get out or at least size down. And so anyway, point is that, I was trading ZM today, and I'm thinking, oh, it would be great if it pulled back to 145. 150. I'd scale in, I'd do this and that, and so I'm planning all this stuff, and I'm wasting all this time when the trade isn't even there yet. So the difference between TDOC and ZM, you're on the front side, you're over VWAP, and then you look at something like HOTH, where you're under VWAP as of 10 a.m. So as of 10 a.m., it has yet to cross back over that VWAP. You can see how much, how different it trades. Just like when you're over VWAP, all the dips get scooped up. When you're under it, all the pops get sold, right? And same thing, mRNA. So, usually I like to wait till 9:45, 10 a.m., get a feel for what's going on. You had a nice little breakout here past 10:30, pulls back, starts to get heavy. So that's fine. If you want to join this trend down, just like I said with ZM and TDOC, you should assume it's going to hold VWAP. Comes back, holds VWAP. Guess what? It stays heavy. So you could rescale in if you want, but as you can see, every pop from that point forward is failing, right? So that's the easy way to know whether or not you should be being patient or whether or not you should be essentially scalping around a core or actually taking the trade itself. You don't want to get in the way of a moving train, especially in this market. They can last a lot longer than you think. You guys should know that. You guys should see that with ZM. It's been setting up for quite some time. TDOC, same thing. Every single time the president speaks, he says telemedicine and telehealth, and this is that. And just like we talk about theme and sector trades, the more times he mentions it, the more people are going to be, hey, I want to invest in this. I have friends that are texting me that are unrelated to the market. Hey, what are good telehealth companies? And same thing with 1M. I have a little bit of this one long, but which is also in the similar space. But with that said, these are on the front side of the VWAP. The only time that I want to be short and I want to be patient is when it's on the back side of the move, when it's under prior support, when it's under VWAP. There's a whole lot of other things that I like to use: looking left, prior support, prior resistance, and prior sticking points, magnets where they hang out. But this is the most simple concept to just give you a quick kind of idea of, am I shorting the front side of the move? And HTZ is another example today. I had somebody, a member, PM me and was thinking about shorting, and I had just asked him, I'm like, well, what's your plan? And we kind of determined that he was just trying to find the top. And, there's no edge with that. The edge is if it starts to speed up, or if it's the backside failed follow through momentum, sub VWAP for patience. And you just want to stay away from this stuff in this market, because you even saw another one that was actually a decent trade today, was Penn. And, it was a great trade if you were trading this channel, shorting the strength. But the most important part was to cover at VWAP, or at least before it. You can always re-add if it stays heavy there. But as you can see, it pretty much based out every single time before it headed up. I think Play was another example. Play is another great example where you can try to be finding the top. The most important part, if you're shorting the front side of the move and you're over VWAP, is not to scale into a loser. That's a great way to get ran over. It's a great way to blow your account, especially on low float. That's why a lot of these low floats, you see a lot of blow-ups, because it's these types of charts, except when they do squeeze, it's 2 to 4 to 6, and they're going to run you out of money. So really, that's just the simple tool to put on your charts to know, hey, am I on the right side potentially, right? But am I on the edge side of the trade? There are times, I think it was not necessarily SPCE, you can see that it pretty much held each time, but I think there was one on Uber. And there are times it's going to chop up and around, and it will come back up and over. And typically what I look for with that, which we can get into tomorrow night on webinar, is for it to come back and confirm over VWAP as support. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about this and tools that you can use, but the most simple version of this that I am trying to portray tonight is if you're scaling into a trade and you are above VWAP, you're asking for it. And with that said, if you are scaling into a trade on the long side, forget shorting for a moment. Actually, HOTH. This was in the room today, and it was of interest in case it came back, right? In case it started to rally back. I knew they could raise. They just did an offering after hours. I warned the room. I said, know what you own. They're all ready to go. They can raise. But what I said was, if this rallies back and whatnot, this VWAP is going to be a key level, but you should assume that it's going to fail. Every single time it tries to rally, you should assume it's going to fail. If you assume it's going to fail, and I'm not necessarily just talking about this one, but sometimes you do trade long under VWAP. But if you assume it's going to fail, then that leads you to be selling into the rips the same way that you would cover into the flushes if you're above VWAP. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully, it'll save you from wasting a bunch of time or precious headspace on the front side of the move. But that was just one thing that I thought of today with ZM, and the reason why it came up is, I did have really, really good entries, had some good covers, but it was just the headspace, the exhaustion of, kind of overstaying on part of my position where, had I just taken the trade and moved on, I would have crushed it. But instead, I had the position flushed out, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hang around. Let me see where I can scale into this. Oh, nope, back to entry. I got to stop out. All right, rips up again. Great entry, flushes out, nailed it. Great. Nope, I should have covered it all. So this is just a quick and easy way. And I also wrote the levels in the room, the key levels, kind of looking left. The only two spots that basically, I would be patient. And those key levels are going to be the support where it becomes resistance and then unwinds. And so that's it. So hopefully that helped you guys a little bit. And if you guys have any questions, you know the drill. We'll leave a comment below, and we'll see you guys in the room.